is not that hard when structured appropriately. Now you guys need reps, right? So I'm saying it's simple, not easy. But as long as you have the right structure in place, you guys can close at an exorbitant clip, okay? So this is the framework that we use for every single part of our call, and it's going to lead to predictability, consistency, and evergreen training. As you guys go through calls and you review them as a manager or as a founder, you're gonna be looking for very specific things. And when you find those things, you know what to train your team on, okay? By show of hands, how many of you guys in here have a sales team? Or are you guys as the founder taking the sales calls? Founder taking the sales calls, cool. So when you guys review your calls, do you have any idea what you're looking for? Or is it just like a gut thing of like, this was a good call? This was not so good of a call, but you have no idea why? Or how many of you guys have had a call where you're like, man, I smashed that call, and then they ghost you? AKA you didn't smash that call, right? So we're gonna walk through the framework that we use here. Okay, so rapport. This is a big problem that I see with sales calls, is they spend like 5 to 10 minutes on rapport. Where are you from? How's the weather? How's the kids? Oh, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, okay? Rapport is not a section of the call. Rapport is built through the entire interaction, the whole thing, okay? So if you have a 10-minute rapport, one, that's crazy. Two, it lowers your authority on a call. And the most dangerous place you can be as a salesperson is peer-to-peer with the person that you're selling with. You have to have an authority, and if you spend way too much time on rapport, you guys hit the friend zone, and nobody wants to be there. Cool. So we start, hey, how are you, where are you from? And that's it. That's it. 60 seconds. And I would love to debate with any of you guys after this if you think that rapport is really important. Okay. Then we're gonna confirm timing. Hey, are you still good for 45 minutes? They go, yep. And this is at 60 seconds, I'm making sure that we're still good on our time. Okay. One of the worst things that can happen in a sales call is all of a sudden, you're 20 minutes in and they go, oh, I gotta go somewhere. Sorry, let's schedule another call, call me back. That's the worst. Because then you have this fragmented sales call. Every single time you get on, you don't really know where to start, pick up, stop. And then it's just this weird conversation that you have over the course of like 4 weeks, and then they don't buy, which is super fun, right? And you just waste everybody's time. 60 to 90 seconds at most. Okay, at most. If you review your call and you are over that time frame, you are spending too much time. Okay. Next part of the call is setting the frame. Now this is a debatable topic in sales. Some people really think that you don't need to set the frame and you just have a conversation and those kinds of things and close. Have there been people who have done this successfully? Absolutely, for sure. Very, very possible. I like to treat all of my prospects as though they are 8 years old. They ran studies of 4th graders on their attention span. And the attention span almost doubled when the teacher only did one thing. They wrote the agenda for the day on the board. That was it. So if it's true for 8-year-olds, and I know that all of you guys in here, if you've taken a sales call before, have definitely questioned if the person on the other side has ever developed mentally past 8 years old. I know that. Setting the frame helps keep attention, okay? In order for you to have influence at all, first, you have to have attention, okay? So by being able to set the frame, you know exactly what we're gonna be talking about here today. It gives you a ton of latitude to go throughout the course of the conversation because they know what's coming every step of the way. Cool? So the way that I like to set the frame is, hey, first I want to learn as much as I can about you. What's going well, and what is the dumpster fire that you're running into, okay? Then from there, if I feel like I can help you, then I will walk you through what that partnership might look like. Does that sound fair enough? Okay? If I get a yes there, then all of a sudden I have buy-in on how the rest of this call is going to go. The if-then frame prevents so much. How many of you guys have been in the middle of a call and somebody goes, hey, all of this is great, can you just tell me what it costs? And you like haven't even gone through the offer yet? You're like in the middle of discovery. This helps prevent that. It gives you an anchor point. So if somebody does that to you, you can go, hey, earlier, you bought into my frame. You said, I need to learn about you before I can tell you about us. Okay? This is huge. If then, have to create an if then framework at the beginning. Okay? If we can help, then we can talk about next steps. All right, so we're gonna talk about discovery next. Some people call this uncover. Tomato, potato, I think they're kind of the same verbiage. I like the words discovery. But discovery has 4 different parts, and we are going to talk about each one of these parts individually. And you're gonna see as we go throughout the course of this, there is a structure for every single part of this call. And as you guys grow and eventually lead a big sales team, I can speak as a salesperson. We're kind of idiots. And if you can structure every part of the call, it helps alleviate some of that idiocy, because we have to be a little bit dumb to get told no 8 hours a day, right? Like, it's true. So we have to have this level of structure that builds momentum through the process, okay? So discovery. First, I need to understand, where are you right now? Right now, current state, in this very moment. If you think of it as a snapshot in time, what is everything that is occurring right now? Everything that has led us to that moment, and everything that is occurring in this moment, okay? What are the problems? What are the wins? Why are they happening? What have you tried? All of that is happening right now, okay? Then we're gonna hit desired state. How many of you guys have ever heard future pacing? You guys ever heard future pacing before? The reason why I don't like that verbiage of future pacing is because if they do nothing to change their situation, it's gonna be the same in the future. So I want to talk about desired state. Where do you actually want to go? Okay? And we need to get measurables. We need to get measurables here. Quantify what it is that they want. Because a lot of people, when you go through desired state, it's going to feel like a dream. It's going to feel unattainable, like way out in the distance. Nice to have, right? People operate in status quo and potential. That's how they think. That's the mental models that they work through. Okay? We see this very often. January 1st, I'm gonna get in shape this year. And then like 3 weeks in, they quit, right? Because this nice shiny thing to have would be cool one day, but we need to get them out of status quo and potential and into gain and loss. In order for that transition to happen, it has to be real. Tangible, measurable, so they can see what they're missing out on. It's not this cool thing that might be fun someday. Okay? Alec, we did this yesterday. Okay? This is the one that gets missed the most often. It's called cost of current state. And the reason why is because it's uncomfortable to ask. We need to highlight, what is it costing you right now having this problem? If you're at 100K a month and you want to get to 200K a month, not solving this problem is costing you $100,000 every single month that you don't get it figured out. And if you've been stuck at 100K for 12 months, it's costed you $1.2 million not being able to figure out the problem. Now it's real, okay? It's not a 200K would be really cool. It's I lit $1.2 million on fire not being able to figure this out. Okay? It can be time. If somebody's working 80 hours a week and they want to grow to buy their time back, it just has to be measurable. Cool? Everybody with me so far? Yes. Yep. All right, cool. And then the next one is consequence. So once you obliterate them and they realize how much they are missing out on right now, I'm going to keep that momentum and show them what they miss out on over the course of time if they don't solve this. So what are the consequences of never solving it? That could be going out of business. That could be not funding their kids' college. That could not be retiring their parents or their wife or their husband, significant other, whatever it might be. But if you don't figure this out, what are the things that you never get? Okay? And now I have my favorite clothing brand, JK, a Gap. Okay? I have a Gap. And in order for somebody to buy, your gap has to be bigger than the cost of the solution to solve it. It has to be. If I can create $1 million problem and help you solve it for 10 grand, it becomes a no-brainer. But if your gap does not supersede that, you're going to hear the objection that I know every single person in this room has heard. I need to think about it. Which means they don't actually feel the space in between what they are going to achieve with you and the cost of achieving that. Okay? It's right here. This is where it happens. All right? Once we go through that, we are going to get some tie downs. So tie downs are commitment to action. Okay? Commitment to action. How many of you guys in here work out? All right. Would any of you guys walk into the gym still in your Crocs and try to do a 1 rep max with no warm up? It depends on how much pre-workout, right? Most of you guys in here wouldn't do that because you would hurt yourself. Okay? If we don't get our micro commitments throughout the course of a call, we are asking for a maximum effort lift after we price drop. And then if you hear the think about it objection, they need to essentially go, I need to go warm up before I get under the bar. Because I haven't made any micro decisions to lead to this big macro. Okay? So tie downs are these little micro commitments, okay? What's really nice about this framework, it's called the WATT framework, it's built on human psychology. So I can tell you the questions that are coming in the order that they are coming in, and it still works. So imagine if you're a prospect and you don't know what's coming. Okay? So I'm gonna start with what question, then I'm gonna have why 2 times. Most people forget the second one. Then I'm gonna make sure that I affirm that you and I are on the same page and that I understand everything that you're talking about. And then I'm gonna ask you to commit to the action, okay? For any of you guys who are doubting this, I'm gonna role play with this live with you right now so that you can see that it still works even though you know the order that they are coming in, okay? You wanna role play with me? Cool. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a what question, and then I'm gonna ask you why about that question 2 times. And then I'm gonna make sure we're on the same page, and then I'm actually gonna ask you to commit to the actions. Cool? All right, so 2025, what is your biggest goal for 2025?
100K a month.
100K a month. It's pretty specific. Why 100K a month?
support my family better, live a better life, you know, invest in business more, you know, more research and development. It's a lot of that's key.
Would it be safe to say that all of those are around freedom?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Why is freedom so important to you?
One of the most valuable commodities.
Is it a commodity or necessity?
Definitely necessity.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you right, 100K a month is purely the vehicle. What you are actually looking for is the time freedom and financial freedom that 100K a month can buy you. That way you can be in the driver's seat of your day and never a passenger on what happens out throughout the course of it. And what that's going to lead to is you having the feeling of freedom which you set out for when you started being an entrepreneur to begin with. Is that right? Cool. Obviously that is going to take doing some different things that you are not doing right now. We're going to have to implement some different strategies. You might have a little bit of time, energy, effort, resources dedicated to that. Are you actually willing to invest those things to get the freedom that you're looking for? Yes, that's my tie down, my micro commitment. Okay? So they know the questions that are coming in the order that they're coming in, and it still works. Okay? This is our micro commitment. All right, so then we're going to transition. This is where we're going to move into our actual offer and explanation of what we do. Okay, so I'm going to hit them with a little recap of all of my findings. Okay, this is the dumpster fire that you're in. This is where you want to go. Is all of that right? Okay. People miss this all the time. And it can create a really awkward offer presentation if you have had a misunderstanding throughout the course of the call. It can be really weird. Okay? So we have to get this, is this right? Is this the problem? Is this the goal? Have you committed to these things throughout the course of it? And if I get yeses all the way through, then I get to move into the offer. Okay? A perfect offer bridges the gap between where somebody is right now and where they want to be. And when I see people present their offer, they don't present it like that. They say, hey, these are all of our gizmos and gadgets. Here's all of these really cool features. These are the companies that we've worked for in the past that are kind of like you, but not really. So you want to pay 10K? And it's weird. Okay. So we're going to go through current state, what we'll do, why we do it, how we do it, when we will do it by, and desired result. So hey, currently you are at $100,000 a month. And you're stuck there because of XYZ reason. So what we're actually going to do to help you fix XYZ is we're going to do these things. The reason why we do that is based on this data and experience. How we actually go about it is blah, blah, blah. And we're going to actually get this accomplished in 4 weeks in order to put you on the trajectory of hitting 200K a month. Therefore, I have to be viewed as the bridge. This is where you are. This is what we do to get you to where you want to go. What, why, how, when. How many of you guys use presentation decks? You guys use slide decks or anything like that? Structure your slide decks like this. If you guys do proposals, this is where you are, what we're going to do, why we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, when we are going to do it by, so that you can get you to XYZ result. And now I'm the bridge. You have to cross me to get to where you want to go. Okay? All this makes sense so far? Yeah. You guys noticing a pattern here about how everything is structured from the very first hello? So that my calls can become mechanical. So that way when I review them, whether I do them for myself or as a manager of a team, I know exactly what I'm looking for at every single part of the call. And it's not just a guessing game. Or, I'm in a weird mood today, I'm gonna light this dude up for a call review. Yeah, doesn't work like that, okay? You guys have pillars in your presentations? Hey, pillar number 1 is this. Pillar number 2 is this. You guys have that? Anybody have that? Am I just a fucking crazy person? Yeah, okay, cool. If you guys have pillars, do the what, why, how, when for each pillar, okay? So first, pillar number 1, to help you solve this problem you're currently experiencing, what, why, how, when to get you here. Make sense? Cool. Pillar number 2, this is the thing, what, why, how, when to get you here. 95% of the questions that you get asked at the end fall into this what, why, how, when. You can hold on to it. Write it down though so you don't forget. And then the only questions you're gonna get at the end of the call are like weird, obscure stuff. Okay? As long as you are able to avoid the massive majority of those weird questions at the end of a call, your objections that you get are gonna be real. You're not gonna have smoke screen objections. I gotta think about it. I gotta talk to my wife, husband's, kids, daughter's, uncle's son who like learned about Facebook 10 years ago, right? Cool. Then there's the price drop. After you run through everything, first we need to do something called sellbacks. You guys ever heard of sellbacks? Anybody not heard of sellbacks? Everybody just not have fucking arms? Have you guys heard of sellbacks before? Yeah? Okay. So for people who haven't heard of sellbacks, this is where we ask them to sell the product back to us. Okay? Why do you think this is gonna work? I love that you guys do blank, 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 and you have XYZ support. What makes us different from your last agency? Oh, well, they didn't add us to Slack. I felt like I got a report every 30 days. My marketing just felt like this black box. I love that you guys have constant communication. And they are going to sell back to you as to why they feel you are a good fit. A lot of people try to check the sellback box by saying, does all this make sense? They go, yep, and then they move on. That's not a sellback. You have to ask them why they think it's gonna work. Okay? This is gonna make it really awkward for a belief objection to come up at the end. It's like, wait, literally 4 minutes ago, you said these things? What changed in the last 4 minutes? Because you said it was gonna work a few minutes ago. Okay? So we need to have our sellbacks here. All right? Here's some examples. The biggest one here on the bottom, do you feel confident that we can get you to XYZ goal? When they say yeah, the only objection you might have to overcome at the end is financial, but it's gonna be logistic, not that they don't think it's worth it. And when you get to that point, that is the easiest objection to overcome. So I'm just alley-ooping to myself if I can get a sell back. Okay? Now I need permission to price drop. How many of you guys have that friend that gives you unsolicited advice? You guys know what I'm talking about? The dude who's been single for 30 years but gives you relationship advice, that guy, right? We need to get permission to price drop. So what I always ask is, so what do you want to do from here? Before I give the price. I know that feels backwards. Before I price drop, I say, so what do you want to do from here? Anybody want to take a guess as to why? Because then they ask me, what is the price? Every time. So now I have permission to drop the price. This is my first check-in point, litmus test. If they say, hey, I need to go think about it, blah, 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 and I haven't given the price yet, they are nowhere near the buying pocket. Not even close. But if they ask me for the price, I know that they are like, I might do this. This is my first litmus test right here. Okay. Cool. All right, I'm gonna switch sides here because the glare is a little rough. So first thing that I do is I pretend that I completely forgot and I play dumb. Because if I don't make the price a big deal, it will not be perceived as a big deal to the person that I price drop to. So I go, oh yeah, of course. To get everything that we just talked about here today, to get you out of the dumpster fire, to get you onto Heaven Island, is just, minimizing word, is just. And then I drop my price, 10K, 40K a month, whatever it is. Minimizing word is just, is only. And then I can use all of my quantifiable data here before I drop price. Hey, earlier, I know that you said you're at 100K a month. You've been there for about 12 months, but you want to get to 200K. Essentially, missing out on $1.2 million over the course of the past year. Being able to add that 100K is going to add $1.2 million for the next year, which is going to help you offload some of the hats that you're wearing, hire the appropriate talent, buy your time back so that you can spend it with your family so that you don't get a divorce. To be able to solve all of this is just 10K. So I want you guys to remember, it's going to be hard, to like 10 minutes ago, where we talked about the gap. This is where I throw the gap in your face. Right here. Recover 1.2, make 1.2, add 2.4 million, buy your time back so you don't get a divorce. 10K. Is my problem at that point bigger than 10K? Is it bigger than 10K by kind of a lot? So now it feels like a bargain. The words that you can listen for to know that you fucking crushed this part of a call is if they say, I thought it was going to be more expensive. If you hear that, you're like, hell yeah. You can make a joke, well, I can make it more expensive if you'd like, right? And then you're going to shut the hell up. After you price drop, you're going to say nothing. And you're going to feel this weird gap and this weird space, and you're going to get all of your mail forwarded to Weird because you live there, okay? It's going to be uncomfortable, but you wait for them to respond, okay? And when you become black belt level at this, top tier level at this, you will actually wait for them to ask you a question. I can price drop and they'll go, oh wow, Cory, that's really expensive. Nothing. Do you have payment plans? Question, cool. Is that something that you need? I will wait for a question. If you're easing your toes into uncomfortability, just wait until they say something. But as you get really good at this, you will wait until they ask you a question. Men, for the most part, are internal processors. There's exceptions to the rule. Women, for the most part, are external processors. There's exceptions to the rule. By moving to the waiting for a question, I've actually had somebody make a buying decision because I didn't interrupt their thought pattern. They were like, Cory, that's really expensive. But, you know, it's something that I really need. It's gonna be uncomfortable. I might be able to pull it out of here. Yeah, no, I think it is there. You know what, let's do it. But because I didn't say anything, I didn't interrupt their ability to process out loud. Okay? So as you get really good at this, you'll wait for a question. Cool? Everybody Gucci so far? All right, sick. Get cozy, being uncomfortable. Because the first time you do it, hear me now, believe me later, it's weird. It's weird. The first time you do it, it is a weird feeling where you price drop after just talking to somebody for 45 minutes and there's like a minute and a half of just nothing. It's awesome. Okay, but you wait. All right? Then every once in a while, you're going to get these things called objections. Right? Everybody had objections before. Does anybody approach their objections currently with like, let's see if this works? I did this one time 5 years ago and they bought. Must be the right thing to say. Guess what? We're going to have objection frameworks too. But all objections, all of them, every single one of them, and if you want to debate me on this later, I would love it. Every single one of objections comes from fear. All of them. Cory, most of them? No, all of them come from fear. Okay? Does anybody in here know what fear is based in? Anybody know what fear is based in? What you got, big dog? The unknown, yeah? The unknown. I'm going to use different words than that, but you're absolutely right. So it's all based in lack of information, all of it. So even when you were a kid and you were afraid of the dark, or an adult, I won't judge you, and you were afraid of the dark, it's because you didn't have enough information coming into your eyes to make an educated decision of what was going on in the room around you. And then as soon as that light turned on, and you had enough information, that fear dissipated immediately. So all of that fear is based in this lack of information, all of it. What does our brain do when we have fear due to not having enough information? Think about your lizard brain, caveman style. It assumes the worst. It assumes the worst. Right? Anybody in here ever seen a monster? Besides me? A monster? No, but when we were kids and the lights were out, there's some scary shit in the closet. We assume the worst, stuff that's never even happened to us before, we might assume. So we have to overcome an emotional response with logic framing. We have to. This is the only way to move somebody into a rational decision-making process, is with logic. It has to happen. So guess what? We got frameworks for objection handling. And for those of you guys who were up late last night and that role played through objections, these are going to look pretty familiar. So number one, what do you mean? What do you mean? No matter how belligerent it feels to ask, we are always going to ask, what do you mean? Cory, that's way too expensive. I can't do that. What do you mean? I got to think about it. What do you mean? I need to talk to some of your clients. What do you mean? Right? This is going to be my first response. The reason why is I want somebody to dig their heels into their objection. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I want this to happen. Okay? The best analogy that I've been able to find around this is, how many of you guys have been into like a huge, like a Walmart or something that has like polished concrete floors? You guys know what I'm talking about, like those huge stores? And you had soapy water with a traffic cone, and you pushed it. The cone just slides around. You guys know what I'm talking about? But if I take that same cone and I put it on the asphalt and I push it, the cone tips over. So I want them to dig their heels into their objection here so that I don't have a moving target. I'll overcome the price and they go, I gotta think about it. And then I overcome that and they go, I gotta talk to my wife. And then I overcome that and they're like, I need 2 weeks. And then I overcome that and it's like, bro, I'm going 12 rounds with you right now. I want them to dig their heels in so that it's an if-then. If I solve this, then you enroll. Okay? So I'm going to start with, what do you mean? Number 2 is I'm going to give them a high-level agreement, right? A validating statement. This is going to bring their guard down. They say, hey man, I totally agree. I totally understand where you're coming from. I've been in that same situation where investing in the business was uncomfortable. I get it, right? This is going to bring their guard down. Believe it or not, people are sales aware. That's pretty crazy, right? And when they give you an objection, they are expecting you to fight them. So they go, oh, that's too expensive. And they gear up for it. It's real. So if I hit them with this, all of a sudden they go, oh, okay. And your guard drops just enough for me to punch you in the face, okay? So I need this high-level agreement, right? Hey, I can totally understand it's uncomfortable. Hey, I've been there. I talk to a lot of people in the same situation as you. Totally understand. High-level agreement. Then I'm going to single out the objection, okay? For most of you guys in the room here, it's going to be, is it service or is it price? Do you not believe in what we do, or are you poor? Okay, that's extreme, but those are the two things. Is it logistics, where you literally just do not have the money, or do you not believe in what we do? And if you handle this call well, what are they always going to say? Logistics. And lucky for us, that's the easiest one to overcome. Okay? Then I'm going to hit them with a reframe. Everybody in their entire life lives their life from one mental model to the next. And they are making the decision to say no through a very specific mental frame. So I need to reframe that decision making. There's some subcategories here. First, I ask them if it's worth it. Is being able to get XYZ outcome worth the investment? Regardless of if you have the money, is it worth it? Does that trade make sense? Okay. Then I'm going to hit you with a little analogy to show you how you make that same decision differently in a different location. And then I'm going to stack it all together. So I'm going to say, so you believe in what we do, the trade is worth it, being able to get XYZ outcome is worth this investment, you just agreed to the analogy that I gave you, you said you wanted to do this yesterday, and I'm stacking all of this stuff together, and I'm bringing a logic tsunami coming for you. So that way when it hits you when you're emotional, you have nowhere else to go, and all of this is going to dissipate, and you have to make a rational decision. You have to. Okay? And then, after you do all of that, you have to ask for the money again. I have seen countless times people overcome an objection successfully and not ask for the money again. And then they have like a follow-up, it's weird, and they get ghosted or whatever. Ask for the money again. You put in all that work, just do it. Ask for the money one more time. Okay? Cool. And then you rage because the money hits your account and it's time to party. Okay? This will make your calls mechanical. There is a framework for every part of the call, from hey, how are you, to thank you so much for your Amex. And it is structured from front to back every single second of the call, which makes your process predictable. It makes your process consistent. You can reverse engineer your numbers. Marketing, for all of you guys in here who do marketing, you know, okay, I'm consistently closing at 25%. My show rate is consistently 75%. That means in order for me to grow, I have to book 50 calls. My cost per book call is $100. Means I have to spend X on marketing this month. And now business is a math problem. And we have calculators on our phone if you suck at math. Okay? Cool. All right, so we're gonna hit a little Q&A. You got the cues. I got the A's, hopefully. Open it up. You guys can ask me anything in regards to this or sales in general. What you got, Big Dog?
So, when is a organization, business qualified to bring on a sales team? Like, what do they need in place? How much do they budget of their revenue to make it work? Like, I'm sure you build out sales teams and systems for other companies.
Yeah, all the time.
And then
Yeah.
some are highly unqualified, some
Yeah.
why haven't you done this sooner?
Yeah, so I'll give you the gold standards. There's exceptions to the rules, especially around things like, is the company funded, right? Do they have financial backing? Are they in Series A? Like, there's all kinds of stuff that changes that. But the gold standard for a closer in the space is they need to make anywhere from 8 to 12K a month. So when it's time to hire that person is if you have enough opportunity for them to make 8 to 12K a month, as long as they hit their KPI consistently. What I do see people in this space do is they have 1 month that was great from lead flow, and then they hire somebody, and then it falls off a cliff, and then they churn that salesperson. Okay, so do it consistently, and then hire. But that's the golden number, is 8 to 12. So if you pay 10% to a closer, which is pretty standard, they need to be able to cash collect $80,000 to $120,000 a month into your business. Cool? Great question.
Thank you.
What you got?
So, a question from earlier. Cool. So we talked about pillars, right?
Yeah.
And you have like this word could be it's standard, but it's a little customization to it. Do you, a part of the initial like discovery or at the beginning of the conversation, do you ask specific questions? So instead of listing out each individual pillar, you kind of gauge which is the best one to give one offer, or do you still list each individual pillar?
You'll custom tailor it to the person, but what's really cool about sales, at least for all of you guys in here, is we know what we're gonna present at the end. It's not like a surprise to us where it's like, okay, what am I gonna put together for the offer, right? Like I know what I'm gonna present. So we're gonna do something crazy and we're gonna ask questions around the gaps of what we already know that we're gonna present, right? So for marketing agencies, if one of your things that you die on a hill is your communication with your prospects is above all else, you're probably gonna ask in discovery, how is your current agency communicating with you? You know the answers to the test already. Just ask the questions around them. Good point though, good question. Yep. Mark.
I feel like the cost of current state question, like that's definitely one that I miss all the time. I never really ask it. And it is because like it feels a little bit unnatural. It doesn't really feel as like a good entry point to like slide that in. So you're maybe like talking about other things, then it's just like a hard right turn into that question. Are you just like throwing it in, or is there a way to kind of like weave that into the conversation?
Why do you think it follows dream state?
Yeah.
So
like say like my dream state is X. I don't know, it feels very salesy. Like
you want to role play it? I'll role play it with you. You want to role play it? Cool. All right. Can everybody hear? Yep. All right. Cool. You want to do a conjuncted one just so you can see the transition?
Yeah.
Cool. Who do you want me to be? I'll sell whatever. Who? Like I'm going to be the closer. What do you want me to sell?
Our service.
Your service? Okay. Cool. So Mark, what are you guys doing right now for marketing?
Currently just running Facebook ads and a little bit of ads on YouTube and Snapchat.
Okay. Are you running everything to a Shopify store?
Yeah, correct.
Gotcha.
Amazon, but all the ads are Shopify.
Are you having the halo effect through Amazon?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
So they're getting sales through there and then they're just holding all of it and not giving you any of the data? Right. Got it, cool. Why would you even want to do TikTok Shop?
I just think here, everyone's rushing on and it feels like there's an opportunity that we're missing out.
What kind of opportunity?
Just feels like an arbitrage, it's like there's easy traffic and Facebook ads get very expensive and it's getting competitive.
Gotcha, okay. So you feel like your cost to acquire a customer on Meta is growing and eating into your profit margin. You think TikTok can help restore some of that profit margin?
Yeah, I see so.
Okay, so moving on to TikTok Shop successfully, what does that look like? Like, how are you gonna deem success?
I think we get it up and running in the first like 3 months where we're like making profit and we've got some momentum, and then we're in a good place where we can scale over the rest of the year.
Like $1?
Yeah, we're making like, maybe 5K, 5 to 10K a month. We're making our costs back.
Okay, and then maintaining your current sales on Meta?
Yeah, I mean, if we went up, that'd be ideal.
So maybe a little cross-pollination.
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
Gotcha, okay. So at least 5 to 10K, is it cool if I use 7.5?
Yeah.
Okay. And then have maybe another 5K on Meta? So 12.5 across both platforms?
Yeah.
Cool. How long have you been thinking about going on to TikTok Shop?
It's been a couple of months. I've seen everyone like post about it online and in the back of my mind.
So why haven't you done it?
I just don't understand the platform. I don't really know
Got it.
how to tackle it.
Got it, okay. So just a knowledge gap?
Yeah, I'd say so. Knowledge and then also a bit of time. I think it's
Time.
definitely different than what we do, so don't really have the time to learn and allocate the resources.
Gotcha, so you don't want to spend like 20 hours a week learning TikTok Shop to launch it on your own?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, got it. How long is a couple of months? Like 3 months, 4 months?
2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months, okay. So if we just take that 12.5 number over the course of a 3-month period, you know, we're looking at 37,500 or so in missed opportunity cost on the first order. What's your returning customer rate?
Only like 5%, 10%.
5%? Okay, you need emails, bro. That's really low. But at 5%, you know, that's an additional, call it $1,000, $2,000, something like that. So we're right around $40,000 of missed cost by not being able to do this for the past 3 months. What does that 37,000, 40,000 buy you? Like, what do you do with those funds in the business?
Yeah, I mean, that was grow a lot quicker. We reinvest that back into more inventory, more ads, maybe other upcoming channels as well.
Do you get better COGS if you buy more?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have increased profit margin then too. Where's the profit margin at right now?
We're running at like 20% net margin.
Okay. And being able to buy $40,000 more of inventory, where does that push you?
Yeah, probably always get above.
Like 30, 40%? Okay. You open to a pro tip? Learn those numbers so that you have milestones, so that as you buy inventory, you can like predictably understand like what your profit margins are. But if I'm understanding you correctly, been thinking about TikTok 3 months or so, not being able to do that, it's cost you about $40,000 in revenue just in those 3 months, which over the course of a year is about 120 grand, assuming it doesn't grow at all past that point, right? 120 grand allows you to buy more inventory, which moves you from a 20% profit margin on COGS up to a 30%. On just that $120,000 of inventory, we're adding 10%, which is $12,000 back in the business. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cost of current state.
It's more of a conversation than it's like a single question.
Yeah, but now you understand it's costed you 40 grand in 3 months, 120,000 over the course of a year, 10% profit margin, and being able to buy more inventory and get on platforms. Like, that's what it's costed you by not being able to get on TikTok Shop. Cool. Cool. Anybody have any questions on that? This is a weird one. Like, this is the one that people miss all the time. Cool. Any other questions? What you got?
So obviously you're very well versed with closing. Do you handle questions around appointment setting and the whole?
100%, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
So with appointment setting, similar question to the one before, like what do you need for an appointment setter to be successful? Because right now I got 3 VAs on my DMs on Instagram, Facebook, doing a lot of cold, but doing some warm, and I pay them cheap, but I also have like a GPT that augments some of the responses, but there's still like a little bit of not aloof, but like they don't truly just get it.
Yeah, it doesn't connect. Yeah, for sure.
But I think I'm being cheap about it as well. But yeah, at the same time.
It could be. A good setter will probably make 4 to 6K a month, and that's state-based, by the way. Like if they live in the States or Canada, that's kind of what you look for the most part. But they'll make around 150, sometimes 200 calls a day. So you need to have enough contacts coming in that they don't just call the same 150 people every day for 3 months, right?
Is that with the auto dialer usually?
I could manually punch in numbers and do 150. My record is over 700 calls in a single day.
Wow.
So being able to do
You're making everyone
being able to do 150 manually punching them in, you can definitely do. Auto dialers can definitely push that number up, for sure. But at that 150 threshold, and they work 5 days or so, that means you have to have about 750 people for them to call a week. Yeah.
Interesting. And are you able, could you just off the rip find someone for a 4K base and make sure they do the 150 dials? Or
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. I typically, for a setter, will pay like $1,000 to a $1,500 base, and then 3 to 5% on cash collected for everything that they set.
I must be looking at the wrong talent pool, because every time I find someone, even when I've gone through a couple of closing or staffing companies, it's like, I'm struggling to get them to make 50 calls, and I'm just like, what's going on? Maybe it's my training, maybe it's the fluidity.
Oh yeah, we would smash that. Yeah. Rami in the back, chat with him. He can show you a little bit of like our setter and hiring process. I think it'd be interesting for you to see. Any other questions? Carla?
You said you asked for money again.
Yeah. There's a couple of different ways. Sometimes I'll go, what do you feel like the next best step would be from here? And if I've just annihilated their objections, they go like, well, enroll, I guess. Sometimes I'll just say, hey, you ready to rock and roll? Slightly more assumptive. And then if they're a real alpha personality, like disc profile, high D, I'll say, great. So do you want to do Amex, Visa, American Express, or Discover? Yeah. After I go through that. So those are the 3 that I use the most often. Just asking it like, so what do you want to do from here again is better than not asking. Yeah. But yeah, those are my 3 go-tos. What's up, Big Dog?
Have you determined, like, from like a $200 sale or $500 sale, that it's not worth your time compared to a potential $15,000 sale? Where do you draw the line? Whether it's worth me talking another 2 minutes to this potential?
That's a really good question. So I set a goal of how much money do I want to make per hour. And that's what I optimize everything around, is that number, okay? And if that person, I can monetize my time there and hit that number, I'll talk to you. But if I can't monetize my time, then I'll either move them to somebody else to talk to, or maybe their time, at least on paper, is less valuable, right? Or I'll DQ them out of the process entirely. But I optimize for like how much money I make in an hour.
So if someone's not worth the time, you just hang up?
No, I'll typically say like, hey man, based on everything that you're saying, I don't know if I'm gonna be the best fit for you. What I really wanna make sure is that we can absolutely knock it out of the park for whatever problem you're running into. I just don't think that we can do that. Let me send you some resources though that might be helpful. And if you ever run into this problem specifically, please give me a call back. Yeah. If you only do the 10 to 20s, your marketing has to be dialed though to hit the right volume. So you may need to arbitrage some of your spend and your time with some of those lower ticket things as well.
Are most of the, like, your sales recurring, or are they just one-time sales?
We have a healthy mix of both, whether that's consulting or placements is one time, and then obviously like our marketing and sales management is recurring. So it kind of depends.
Just to calculate this per hour, right? That might be different.
Yeah,
Recurring.
totally. And you have to run it off of current numbers and projections and that kind of stuff as well. But when you're in the beginning, bro, just talk to everybody, because you're gonna learn so much about who you actually wanna work with. And I will tell you, we learned that. Everybody on my team can vouch for that, of who we actually wanna work with by working with people that we probably shouldn't have. And then we were able to narrow our client profile through that process. And we got paid to do so, which was kind of nice. Now, we still gave them value, but we were able to narrow into like our ideal prospect essentially through that. Yeah. Cool.
So I'm definitely in that camp of people you were talking about earlier who just do different sales call every single time.
Yeah.
You definitely showed me a lot that I fucking suck. So it's great, but something I've always struggled with, because I'm the one doing all the sales for my company for the last 4 years, is I've like obviously gotten a lot of deals kind of just off vibes and whatever, and never follow a script. But I kind of follow like a framework in my head, but I definitely need to use this, like make it mechanical, right? But do I need to use a script? Should I actually have something in front of me? Or how do you go about that?
No, I'm pretty against scripts, but I am pro framework.
Okay.
I think that it's really, really hard to plan a linear conversation with a human. I think that's really hard. And then people's scripts sound like the next questions, yeah. Yeah, but it's like, you need to uncover this stuff in this section. You could go 4, 3, 1, 2. It doesn't matter. Just get the answers to these and then move on to the next one. Yeah. Cool. What's up? And then you have another one? Yeah. So I'll go here and then you go here.
So question, so my offer can seem a bit technical.
A bit? Yeah, for sure. It's hella technical. Yeah.
So like basically an AI acquisition offer. So I'm usually the only person that can properly articulate it and like demo it. So I saw it a little bit, like most of the demo is like before the call and like you accept by the AI, I already talked to it. But now when they want to see it, I can just flow through all the softwares and like show up and push it. But like, how do I translate that to like a sales team or somebody else taking the basketball? They don't know how to do that.
You ever heard of Albert Einstein before?
Yeah.
Can we agree? Pretty smart guy.
For sure.
Have you ever heard of you don't truly understand something unless you can explain it to a 6-year-old? So I think that you need to go through that process of how can I dumb this down to, one, make it unbelievably consumable to my ICP, but not require you to be there. If it requires you, you'll never break the ceiling. You'll get stuck. And that's a shit place. Because what happens is you grow up and then you realize that you're stuck, and then you take like this downhill for like 3 months and like do a correction, and then you can come back up, and that 3 months is tough, dude. So like, dumb it down, work through it, and make sure it's mass consumable. Explain it to like your mom, and if they're like, "Oh, I get this," then it's like, cool. Now I know how to, yeah, for sure. What'd you have, man?
Yeah, so this might require a longer sit down, but right now my mastermind, the premise of it is I do real estate media.
Okay.
I scale my agency to several millions, shooting photos and videos of houses like this, smaller houses, you name it.
Cool.
And other people coach with me. My addressable market, I think, is pretty small. Like, it's a niche of a niche. Maybe 2,000 people in the US have an agency the size I can coach that would want to spend the 20K with me a year. And so I think my addressable market's like 500 people that are ready to buy at all times, and I'm already working with 20% of them. So with that being said, I have all these tangential products. So I sell video editing, photo editing, software. There's 2 software plays. And so whenever I bring someone in, sometimes if they're not ready to buy, I sell them something else. The question I have is, I have all these products because, I feel like I don't want to just be like, oh, you can't afford 20K, sorry, I can't help you today. I want to be able to sell them a solution. Usually if I sell them a solution, over time they come back to me for something else.
Sure.
With that being said, I think it makes it hard for a salesperson to truly be able to consult on multiple products.
No.
How would you address something like this? Because my friend told me, bro, you got so many products. Of course your salespeople are going to struggle because they can't keep up with all the things yourself.
No, man, it's just training. So I would guess the gap is training and onboarding, or being able to segment what you have up here operationally on what you pitch onto like an SOP of if this, then this. If they don't have this, they're at this mark, this is what you sell them. So you just have to create a decision tree almost. And that's probably training and onboarding as long as like SOPing on the products.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yep. And then I would offer something exclusive that they get access to in joining the 20K program so that they join it again and again and again and again and again and again and again.
Well, yeah, right now I have 70 people on a recurring model.
Cool.
So they're paying me $1,000
Yep.
to $2,000 a month.
Cool. Yep. Design?
Seeing everything that structured the last week through the framework, what are your thoughts around AI agents taking the sales process?
That's a really good question. I think that for a relatively simple offer, I think it can be done for sure. I actually don't think it's a problem with AI capability. I think it's a problem with people wanting to talk to someone when they're spending that much money. And I don't think that that's going to be replaced soon, but I do think it will be replaced eventually. But I don't think it's a capabilities issue. I think it's a societal, if I'm going to spend 10K, I need to talk to a human. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I'm still looking at my own behavior and sometimes I just prefer talking to them.
Yeah. But you're also the exception to the rule, which is why you're in a room like this, right? Cool. Anything else? All right. Last thing, please stalk me. This is all my stuff on Instagram. I'm Sales Silverback. My biggest platform, and call me a nerd, is LinkedIn. I crush on LinkedIn, so if you want some LinkedIn content, find me there. And if you want to send me stuff on Facebook that I'll never read, it'll be right here as well. Okay, cool. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Take a little bathroom break, stretch the legs.